Welcome back to the deep dive, where we like to, uh, really get into the nitty-gritty of the things that make us tick.
Yeah, I love that.
And today's no exception. We're diving headfirst into something we all do every single day, buying stuff. But we're not just talking about what we buy. We're talking about why.
The psychology behind it all.
Exactly. The invisible forces that shape our decisions.
It's kind of freaky when you think about it.
Yeah, like I was reading this article called Factors Influencing Consumer Behaviors from Procure4 Marketing. And
Oh, yeah, I know that one. It's pretty fascinating.
it really is. It made me realize how much I'm influenced by things I'm not even aware of.
Well, that's the point, right? It's all about those subconscious nudges and triggers that marketers use to get us to open our wallets.
Okay, so let's break it down. The article talks about four main categories of influence: personal factors, psychological factors, social factors, and cultural factors. Let's start with the personal stuff, the things that make each of us unique.
Right, like our age, our gender, our income, our lifestyle, all of that jazz.
So even something as simple as what kind of coffee you drink can reveal a lot about who you are.
Totally. A student on a budget might go for that instant coffee, while a busy professional might be all about that fancy latte.
Or like if you're really into fitness, you're more likely to be drawn to brands that sponsor athletes or promote a healthy lifestyle.
Exactly. Marketers know this. They're all about creating these little tribes or segments of consumers who share similar values and interests.
It's like they're saying, hey, if you buy our product, you're one of us.
And it works, right? We all want to belong. We want to feel like we're part of something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah, but it's kind of creepy too when you think about how much of our individuality is actually shaped by marketing.
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How much free will do we really have?
I don't know if I want to go down that rabbit hole right now.
Me neither. Let's stick to the practical stuff for now.
Okay, so we talked about those outward personal factors. What about the stuff going on inside our heads?
Ah, yes, the psychological factors, the inner workings of the consumer mind.
This is where it gets really interesting.
It does. So much of our decision making is driven by things we're not even aware of. Our perceptions, our past experiences, our beliefs, all those invisible forces that shape how we interpret the world around us.
Like, for example, how we perceive a brand's image.
Yeah, a company can spend millions trying to create an image of luxury and exclusivity, but if your perception of luxury doesn't align with theirs, their message will fall flat.
It's all about our individual filters, right?
Exactly, and those filters are constantly being shaped by our experiences. Let's say you had a really great experience with a particular brand's customer service.
Oh, yeah, that definitely makes a difference.
Right, that positive experience might create what we call a halo effect, making you more likely to choose their products in the future, even if there are cheaper or objectively better options available.
Makes sense. We tend to stick with what we know and trust.
And then there are our beliefs and attitudes, these deeply held convictions that shape our worldview and influence our choices.
Like, if you're passionate about environmental sustainability, you're more likely to buy from brands that are eco-friendly.
Precisely. It's about aligning our actions with our values.
But it's not always easy, is it? There's a lot of noise out there, a lot of conflicting messages.
And that's where cognitive dissonance comes in, that mental discomfort we feel when our actions don't align with our beliefs.
Oh, yeah, I've definitely experienced that. Like when I buy something I know isn't good for the environment, but I convince myself it's okay because I really want it.
We all do it. It's part of being human. But the more aware we are of these psychological traps, the better equipped we are to avoid them.
So it's not just about knowing what we want. It's about understanding why we want it.
And being honest with ourselves about those
This
motivations.
is heavy stuff.
It is,
Yeah.
but it's important. And it's only one part of the equation. We haven't even talked about the social and cultural influences yet.
Okay, well, let's take a breath and dive into those next.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so we've tackled the personal stuff and the psychological stuff. Now let's talk about the social side of things.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. How our relationships, our social circles, the people we admire, all shape our buying decisions.
It's like that whole keeping up with the Joneses thing, right?
Exactly. We're social creatures. We want to fit in. We want to be accepted. And that desire drives a lot of our consumer choices.
Like how many times have you bought something just because a friend recommended it?
All the time. Or avoided something because of a bad review online.
Yeah, word of mouth is powerful stuff.
It is. It's one of the most effective forms of marketing because it taps into our trust in people we know and respect.
And in the age of social media, that trust has been amplified. Like 1,000 times over.
Right. Influencers have become the new tastemakers. They can make or break a brand with a single post.
It's crazy how much power they have.
It is. But it all goes back to that basic human need for connection and belonging. We want to be part of the in crowd. We want to know what's cool, what's trending.
So even if we think we're making independent choices, we're actually being influenced by a whole network of social connections.
And it's not always a bad thing. Social influence can also expose us to new products and ideas that we might not have discovered on our own.
Like that time I joined that online book club and ended up reading all these amazing books I never would have picked up otherwise.
Exactly. It can broaden our horizons, expand our tastes.
But it's important to be aware of the potential for manipulation too.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Just because everyone else is doing something doesn't mean it's right for you.
So we need to find that balance between being open to new influences and staying true to ourselves.
And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, cultural factors.
Okay, so now we're zooming out even further, looking at how societal norms and values shape our buying behavior.
Right. It's about understanding the bigger picture, the cultural context in which our decisions are made.
Like how different cultures view luxury, for example.
Yeah, in some cultures it's all about ostentatious displays of wealth, while in others it's more about understated elegance and quality craftsmanship.
And those cultural differences can have a huge impact on which brands we find appealing.
Absolutely. And it's not just about luxury, it's about everything from food to fashion to technology.
Like that example in the article about how McDonald's adapts its menu to different cultures.
Yeah, they offer McSpicy paneer burgers in India to cater to vegetarian preferences.
It's fascinating how companies have to be so attuned to these cultural nuances to be successful.
It's not enough to just understand demographics anymore. You have to understand the deeper cultural values and beliefs that shape people's desires and motivations.
So marketers have to be anthropologists now.
In a way, yes. They need to be able to decode the cultural code.
That's a lot of pressure.
It is, but it's also an incredible opportunity to create products and experiences that truly resonate with people on a deep level.
So it's not just about selling stuff.
Yeah.
It's about creating connections.
Exactly, and that's what makes consumer behavior so fascinating. It's a window into the human psyche, a reflection of who we are as individuals and as a society.
This is making my head spin a little.
I know it's a lot to take in, but it's worth it. The more we understand about these influences, the more empowered we become as consumers.
And the more we can resist those sneaky marketing tricks.
Exactly. It's about taking back control.
So where do we go from here? How do we put all this knowledge into practice?
Well, that's a question for our next segment. Stay tuned.
All right, so we've uncovered all these hidden influences that shape our buying decisions. But what do we do with this knowledge? How do we actually become more conscious consumers?
Right. It's not enough to just know about these things. We have to actually change our behavior.
So like, let's say I'm scrolling through Instagram and I see an ad for the latest pair of sneakers everyone's wearing, and I suddenly feel this urge to buy them. What's my first step?
Well, the first step is to pause and just notice that urge. Don't judge yourself, just observe it.
Okay, I've paused. I'm noticing the urge. Now what?
Now ask yourself some questions. Why do I want these sneakers? Do I really need them? Will they make me happier? Or am I just trying to keep up with the Joneses?
And if it's the latter, if I'm just feeling that social pressure, what then?
Then you have a choice. You can either give in to that pressure and buy the sneakers, or you can resist it and do something else.
But it's hard to resist sometimes, especially when everyone else seems to be buying them.
I know it is, but that's where mindfulness comes in. It's about being aware of your thoughts and feelings and making conscious choices rather than just reacting to external stimuli.
So instead of just automatically clicking add to cart, I should take a step back and really think about whether this purchase aligns with my values and goals.
Exactly. It's about being intentional with your spending.
And it's not just about material possessions, right? This applies to everything from the food we eat to the experiences we choose.
Absolutely. It's about being a conscious consumer in all aspects of your life.
This is a lot to think about.
It is, but it's worth it. The more mindful we become, the happier and more fulfilled we'll be.
Because we're not just buying stuff. We're investing in our values and our well-being.
Exactly. It's about aligning your spending with your purpose.
And it's about sending a message to the market that we're not just mindless consumers. We're thoughtful individuals who care about where our money goes.
And the impact it has on the world.
This has been a really insightful conversation. I feel like I have a whole new perspective on consumerism.
Me too. It's something I'm constantly learning about and trying to improve on myself.
Well, thanks for sharing your wisdom with us.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners out there, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of consumer behavior. We hope you've learned something new and that you'll join us again next time for another thought-provoking discussion. Until then, be well and happy, consuming consciously, of course.